Hi, this is Ravit and Murray on the Nasty Divorce Podcast. Just to remind you, we are not lawyers or therapists. We are just two divorced parents on a mission to demystify nasty divorces, understand how and why nasty divorces are becoming an epidemic, discuss problems we see in today's divorces, along with provide solutions. Today we are talking about what we believe, or I believe, to be the three main reasons our divorces are turning so acrimonious. And that is because of ego, power, and money. And I talk about this a lot in my book because when I was researching, and talking to parents and getting ready to write my book, one of the things that I was trying to understand is I can't imagine that every single parent out there that I'm talking to has a real issue. Why is it that all these court appearances are all stemming from the same place? Right? So how is it possible that every single family out there that is going to court and, taking control over our courtrooms, why is it that everyone is unhappy about something? And I started looking back and digging a little deeper, and that's when I realized that it really is about ego, power, and money. Sometimes your stories or your cases or your appearances are not even about the facts that are in front of you. It's the fact and the story that is in front of you actually got lost along the way. And right now you're actually fighting each other out. And lawyers will confirm this with me. And I only realized this later after I've spoken to a whole bunch of lawyers. I said, I don't get it. How is it possible that we all have similar issues? We're not the same people. Our stories are different. Our exes are different. But we're having unique problems. So it doesn't make sense. And they even confirmed to me that divorce is like an emotional tug of war. It's the mother and the father trying to control or take hold of their positioning and make sure that they're not being taken advantage of. That's like one of the biggest fears. And so what happens is that the person who has the most money, in some cases it's one out of the two that has the most money, ends up, playing hard. And playing it out in court. And what does that mean? That they're constantly going to litigate over issues that really don't exist, or they're escalating it and making it seem a lot worse than it is just to make the other person lose. Yeah. So then your divorce turns into a battle of winning and losing. So it's not really about the issues at hand. Encouraged by the lawyers. There are some lawyers who love escalating your issues, and there are others who won't escalate it. It really depends. It's kind of like you'll find good parents out there, or good men out there, and you'll find bad men out there, just like women. Okay, so don't attack me back. I know you're about to say that. No. So what's happening is that we're losing touch of reality. Okay? And how so? Because when let's take this situation. Dad says mom is guilty of parental alienation, meaning that the mother is not allowing the father to have his access rights, or she's denigrating you in front of the children, or she's doing something that is alienating the father from the children. And mom goes and says, what on earth are you talking about? I am not alienating. This is all coming from you. And I'm not doing anything that you're saying that you're accusing me of. So they go in front of a judge, and now they're not talking about the children anymore, right? They're not saying the children are saying this and that, and this is what's happening. It's you did this, and you did that. Now they're pointing fingers at each other. So guess what it is? It's all about ego. It's mother against father, pointing fingers at each other and trying to see who's the bad one, who's the worst one out of there. Oh, Murray's hand is up.
You're talking about a world that I have no knowledge of at all.
Okay.
So, question. Can anybody go to divorce court?
Yeah, anybody has the right to be heard.
No. Can I go into your divorce?
Into my hearing, into my case?
Yeah,
no, only lawyers. Only lawyers and the parents.
So there's no way that...
Why would you want to go in there?
Because the world you speak of right now is absolutely incredulous. To be sitting there and pointing fingers at each other and, no, you said that, and I did not, and yes, you did, and I have the proof, and oh, yeah, what? Well, our son told me that. I was like, oh, God.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just a world, and I'm sitting here going, I don't ever want to be a part of this world, ever.
Well,
This world of divorce court and everything. And I was just curious if, and you're just saying, no, it's not possible. You cannot go into court and witness these battles and then say it from a learning experience, jeez, I will never do that.
I think all you need to do, Marie, is we need to have a sit down with a lawyer or with a judge, and they will tell you exactly what I'm saying, and they'll tell you thousands upon thousands of stories confirming that this is what happens out there.
Oh,
And there are lawyers out there who actually at this point refuse to litigate because of this. Because
they won't take on these cases?
they won't take on any cases where
Good
they
on
have to
them.
appear on court. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Because they say that at the end of the day, it's emotionally very difficult on them. There is no way to win
No.
because both parties think they're absolutely right, even though the story is completely insane. They refuse to, bill excessively for no reason at all and have the two parents fight over, something as ridiculous as a grilled cheese sandwich. And this is what happens out there. And so people are losing focus of reality.
Grilled cheese sandwich? Have you told me that story? Or?
You know what? I'll repeat it just in case because I'm not sure if I did. So here's a perfect scenario where two parents can turn a little situation into a massive blown out war. So I usually feed my kids grilled cheese sandwiches on whole wheat bread.
Okay.
You, Murray, as the father of my children, feed the children a grilled cheese sandwich on white bread.
Oh, yeah.
And
Okay, for the argument's sake, we'll go with that, yeah?
And I am livid because I am so focused in my house on feeding my children properly and healthy foods, and white grains is not part of our diet. And all of a sudden, little baby John ate a grilled cheese sandwich on white bread. And just to piss you off and to, escalate an issue, I go to my lawyer and say, I demand that Murray never again feeds the children a grilled cheese sandwich on white bread. He's laughing.
Yeah.
Now, imagine you were to get a letter like that from your lawyer and says that Ravit, the mom, decided you're absolutely not allowed to do that. What would you do? What would be your first reaction?
I got to digest this now. I'm reading a lawyer that tells me from now on I can't make a grilled cheese sandwich for our children,
Yes.
or our child, using white bread.
Yes.
I guess onions are out too, huh? Jeez. I don't know. I guess if I got the letter from a lawyer, I'd have to pay attention to that.
Okay.
But in the back of my mind, I'm going, you are a moron. And you, the lawyer. But you wrote this letter on behalf of
The
my
mom.
ex.
Yeah.
You are a double moron. But that happened.
But you see,
That's
that's the
happened.
thing
That's-
is your reaction is very rare. For the parents out there that are fighting it out, and really it's like, imagine two parents in a boxing ring and just punching each other out all day long, all week long, all the time. Any chance they have, they do it. But the thing is, I have to point out something. Sometimes it's not their fault in the sense that the issues have escalated so much. Ego has taken control. Everybody's struggling to survive. No one's really stopping to pay attention and go, whoa, wait a minute.
Mhm.
We have to stop and we have to change this because it ain't working.
And it's not about the grilled cheese sandwich.
It's not about the grilled cheese sandwich. I mean, listen, if there's a dietary restriction and the child is, let's say, it's not a white bread, brown bread issue, it's a gluten issue, and the child has a stomachache for 3-4 days or throws up, I understand. But sometimes it's just...
A reasonable parent would realize the child can't have whatever the issue might be.
Well,
And
you brought
wouldn't-
up a really good term, reasonable.
And wouldn't, I would suggest that the mom or the dad wouldn't intentionally make their little one sick.
Well, we would hope so, but sometimes the one parent doesn't believe the other parent that they took them to the doctor, and this is what the doctor said, and they believe that it's a load of crap. And a lot of people don't believe in this gluten-free issue. They don't believe that it's true and that everyone's celiac out there and all that, so they say, screw that, I'm going to give them whatever I want, because at my house, that's all I know how to make, and that's all I'm ready to do for my kids anyhow.
By the way, I knew a mom one time who said, I'm tired of all this peanut allergy and this allergy, like, screw that noise. She said, kid, every once in a while, got to eat dirt. And I'm like, what? No, you got to let them play in the sandbox and get the germs in them in order to build the resistance against what life is going to throw at them later. Enough of this putting our kids in a glass house, if you like, and trying to keep all the germs in the world away from them. You have to build an immunity, and the way to do that is, and doctors will even say that about peanut allergies now, expose them to it. The body will adapt. Enough of this
I'm
madness.
not sure. I think differently of that because I grew up
See you in
with
court,
peanut
lady.
allergies. Nice one. You demand justice by going to court, but the truth is that on that fight, I'd probably win. And
So
the
if-
reason is, I grew up anaphylactic to peanuts, and I developed an allergy when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
I luckily outgrew it by the time I hit my late 30s, like completely, to the point where I could eat any nut or peanut out there and I'm totally fine.
Yeah.
So that's something that I understand a little bit more.
Yeah.
And you know, I did eat peanuts when I was young, and I still developed it at the 30s.
It's almost like litigation, eh? Wow, so exciting.
Murray's
Anyway,
learning about something new today.
Okay.
So the question is, are we actually fighting about something concrete at the end of the day? That's
No.
a question to ask.
So if I got a letter from a lawyer saying from now on no more white bread in the grilled cheese sandwich,
Yeah.
in this world, I would contact my lawyer and I would say, I want you to write a letter and send it to her, and I want this, and this now to be no longer a part of our child's life.
Right.
The lawyer will look at you and say,
no problem.
Kidding? Oh, well.
Yes, that's the whole point, Murray, is that if you go and tell your lawyer, I want this, this, and that, an inhumane shark lawyer who loves billing you and loves your issues is going to say, yeah, you're right, that's crazy. Why should they eat on whole wheat bread or non-gluten-free bread and get sick? No, that's crazy. What kind of parenting is that? And they go and escalate the issue.
You wait till our next show, guys. We're going to be talking about litigation attorneys, the good, bad, and the ugly.
Oh, boy.
If you think she's wound up now, wait till you hear what's coming. Oh, man.
Yeah. And what about the money struggles? So there are situations where one parent has access to money and the parent might not have access to money.
Usually the guy. Usually the guy has more money than the woman.
Okay.
And has had control of the purse strings for many years.
Yep.
And all of a sudden now she wants in. She wants control. She wants a say. And that's got to be tough.
That's right.
To all of a sudden have to relinquish some of that control, having to write that check every month. Ugh.
Oh boy, here we are.
Yeah.
This is one of the biggest issues that men have is writing the child support check.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of what we're discussing today with the money part, is that let's say in the same situation that we were playing out before, I decide to take you to court. I say, Murray, you know what? I'm so fed up with all the things that you keep doing wrong. Whether it's the grilled cheese sandwich,
I'm pejorative of you.
and whether it was Sally's pink shoes you forgot to return back to me. So now screw you. I'm taking you to court because I demand justice. Oh. And you're getting a letter from your lawyer saying, okay, your ex-wife is taking you to court. And your first reaction is?
Why? Why this time?
Why this time?
Yeah.
And you read all the reasons, and you say, this is absolutely ridiculous. I can't believe she's actually taking me to court over this. So you say to your lawyer, first question, how much is it going to cost me? And she says, well, I bill you $300 an hour, and it takes about 10 to 15 hours of prep work and attending one day in court.
Holy geez.
Yeah, so $300 times 10 to 15 hours, and that's before taxes, right?
Yes.
So this is what you're paying over an issue over a grilled cheese sandwich and Sally's pink shoes and all the other crazy stories that are out there. And some may be truthful, and some may not be. But no one there is really going to be deciding whether her stories are truthful or not, because you're going to be fighting it all out.
Well, people of all economic incomes are divorcing.
Yes.
Where is this money coming from when you don't have two dimes to rub together?
Well, the ones who don't, from what I've seen, is the ones who don't have any assets or to split when they're getting divorced, they're the ones who normally go through mediation because there really isn't that much, to fight about in court. It's really just about the kids. Those who have more assets are the ones, higher income.
Which they would presumably have to sell or diversify or get rid of in order to pay.
Right.
That's great.
So those are the ones that will probably have a harder time fighting it out in court because no one's really looking to do 50-50. And then there's, all sorts of issues, within their split. The problem is that the lawyers are not exactly helping out the situation. I mean, if you were to go through mediation, the mediator can go and tell you, okay, what do you guys want to do when it comes to splitting the boat, the 25-foot boat? Does one of you want to take it, or are you splitting the sale price?
You can have it.
Okay, so I'm going to have it because I have to pay the $900 gas bill, right?
Oh my God. Yeah.
And then they start looking at all the different factors. So mediation, the mediator can't give you suggestions on what to do. So you can go to your individual lawyers, and your lawyers will say, oh, but you have the right to 85% of it. And her lawyer saying, no, you have the right to 100% of it. So now there's a difference of 15%, and they're not able to come to terms with it, right? So they go in front of a judge. And so they have to put more money in order to get back those couple of dollars. So you ask the question, how do people find the money to go to court? Well, they borrow, they sell their assets, they fill up their line of credits, and they take out a whole load of loans. When I hear of people spending $200,000 in court, and I said, but how on earth are you able to afford it? You know what their answer is?
Well,
I don't even fucking know. That's what they tell me. That was money that we never had before. I still don't have it today, but I have no choice because every time he or she takes me to court, I have to show up. I can't not go because if I don't show up, there's going to be a judgment against me. So I don't want to show up on my own. So I have to go and pay a lawyer to fight it out, even though it's a load of crap.
and you have a job that you have to take time off of
Yes.
in order to go to this court hearing,
Yes.
which could take hours, I'm presuming, the whole day.
It could take the whole day, and plus you have to prepare yourself, and mentally it's exhausting to go to court. Holy cow. I mean, the day of court, you're on a high. For the next few days after, you feel like a train crashed on your head. It's very emotional. It's very difficult. It's difficult from what I'm hearing from my attorney friends. It's also hard on them. It's very dramatic, and it takes a toll on people. So you have to take time to prepare yourself in advance. Then you have to show up that day, and then there's the few days after. And sometimes it could linger on for a week because when you're in court the next day, you don't even realize what happened. It hits you a week later, and then you're like blowing up and like in fire because you can't believe that this just happened to you.
So you've got the stress of anticipating going to court.
Yes.
You've got the date of the court date, and you've got to come back from all of that,
Yes.
come down from that experience. You've got to go home to your kids, both of you,
And pretend everything's just fine.
and everything is cool and everything, and they can read you so well,
Exactly.
and they know things aren't going well. And some of them, if depending on the level of communication you have with your youngster, they will say, "You okay, Mom?"
Exactly.
Or later on, "You okay, Dad?" Man,
And so
Things-
this is where parental alienation starts to kick in also, right?
Mhm.
So you're trying to hold it together. You're trying not to show anything to them. You're trying not to tell them anything that's going on. But you are a ball of fire and you're ready to blow up. And there's nothing you can do to calm yourself down. And they see it and they feel it. And then the other parent says, you went and told the child that we went to court. And because you told them I'm going back to court and I'm gonna claim parental alienation on you because you're bad mouthing me.
No, I was
No.
just pissed off and I was emotional that day, and that's why I did what I did, and I'm sorry.
Exactly.
And well, that's not good enough.
Right.
You being sorry is not good enough. Just don't do it, and to make sure you don't do it.
Oh, this is so good. We're turning Murray into a.
No. I would run off a cliff.
Yes,
That
I can
was-
imagine that.
Oh, this kind of world,
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
But the craziest part is that people don't realize when they're getting divorced that if they don't make the right move from day one, they're falling into this trap whether they like it or not.
a judge ought to be empowered to say, this is absolutely stupid.
Oh, I wish they did.
This is stupid. I'm not going to hear any more of this madness. Two of you in my chambers.
Exactly.
And lawyers, you can stay out here. I'm talking to these two
Oh
alone.
my God, that would be a blessing.
Yeah, and
You
then
know
a
how many
lawyer,
people would love that?
and then which he won't do, can't do,
No.
won't do.
You have the right to be in front of a judge.
Okay,
And it's
but
ridiculous.
no. Has the judge got the right or the power to say this is stupid? Get in my chambers. The lawyers stay here.
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know, but I wish they
That
did
makes
more
too
of
much
it.
sense. Yeah, it makes too much sense.
Exactly. I mean, I've heard of judges saying that, the majority of the issues are more mental health issues than divorce court issues. And they're sitting there listening to the stories and the bickering, and they're understanding that this has nothing to do with the kids, and this is nothing that they can even decide on, because this has to do with the two of them not knowing how to co-parent. But the judge can't tell you how to co-parent. So they're sitting there and listening to the sagas back and forth. I've even had judges like sit there like you're sitting there looking at me, staring at me, listening, but not really paying attention. And I'm realizing I'm like, I'm talking to a wall. Is this judge even listening to me? And they are.
Well,
But there's only so much they can do and they can say.
to correct the record, I am paying attention to you right now.
No. I was just saying by the way that you were looking at me, with
Yes,
your
I know.
hands on your cheek and just staring and thinking to yourself, this is nuts.
It is nuts, and I got nothing. I got nothing. I'm so glad that this is not or was not a part of my life. You have no idea. I can't imagine the emotion and turmoil that must cause in life in general. And if I thought I hated, I'll just use you. If I thought I hated you before, I really hate you now, because now my life is now go public record.
Yep.
Oh,
Not only that, I forced you to spend, let's say, $25,000.
yeah.
$25,000 that could have gone to you, your life, your future, your children, but now it went to a lawyer. That would piss you off, wouldn't it?
Oh, I could be in the Bahamas.
Oh, yeah. There's
I
a
could-
lot of things that we could be doing with this money.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of people get angry.
Mm.
It's the fact that the other person is dragging them down this rabbit hole that they don't want to go to anyhow, but they can't get this person out to come out of it. So the only way that this, this nasty divorce is going to end is when both, drop their gloves and say, game over, it's done. But how many people have you heard that will do that? Will drop their egos and say, you know what? No, not doing anymore. We're totally changing our tune. And now we're going to go the peaceful route because this is not working for you, for me, and for the kids. How many have done that? Very few. That's the problem. And this is why we're here to talk about what are the signs to pay attention to realize that you might go down this path of complete destruction where you can't get out. So your first move when you're talking about divorce or when you're thinking about getting divorced is, whoa, we have to do this the right way. And if we can stay out of litigation, we absolutely have to.
Yeah.
So what are our options? What can we do? Start looking at your different possibilities to stay out of court. Stop giving strangers your money. This is money you're never going to see again.
Yeah.
So now Murray's all, flared up and all excited, and
Well, I
doesn't.
can see why. Sorry to interrupt. I can see why you wrote your book. I can see why you did it, because
Why?
you have all these stories,
Yes.
and you said, "Oh, I got to tell someone. I got to tell someone." I got so many emotions right now, but the one chief emotion is the relief. It didn't happen to me. It went the way it went for me, and I'm so glad that I didn't have to stand up in a court and look across at someone I used to love
Yes.
and say the things and hear the things that my lawyer is saying, but he or she is only saying those things because I told her to say them.
And a lot of them could be fabricated.
You're not allowed to lie in court. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, please. We have a code of ethics, but apparently it doesn't apply to many lawyers.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Murray will not shut up.
And on that note, thank you so much for tuning in today. Join in on the conversation on Facebook and LinkedIn at Ravit Rose, RAVIT ROSE. Have a great day that matters. See you next time.